Okay, let's dive in. We're unpacking one of the really unique and frankly just bizarre Dungeons and Dragons modules today, X2 Castle Amber.
Yeah, or Chateau d'Amberville, as it's also known, right? Released way back 1981.
For the D&D expert set, yeah. And it's got this reputation. It's not just any dungeon.
No, it's the quintessential funhouse dungeon. That's the term you always hear.
Yeah.
Less about strict logic, you know.
Right. More about chaotic, unpredictable, sometimes completely surreal challenges.
Absolutely. It has this amazing mix. You've got gothic horror, medieval fantasy, and this almost dreamlike weirdness. It's captivated players for decades.
Yeah, over 40 years now. And the way it kicks off, it immediately sets that strange tone.
It really does. So, according to the sources, the adventure starts, well, pretty normally. You, the players, are heading overland towards Glantry City.
Looking for work, maybe? A standard adventure hook?
Exactly, expecting a wilderness trek. But somehow you get lost, take a wrong turn. You set up camp for the night.
And then the nightmares hit. Really disturbing ones, the sources say.
Right. But the shocker is when you wake up, you're not at the campsite anymore, not under the sky.
No, you open your eyes and you're suddenly inside this incredibly ornate but also kind of unsettling foyer, a huge mansion, Castle Amber.
The transition is just bam, jarring, immediate, no explanation.
And the outside world, gone, replaced by this thick, smoky gray mist all around the estate.
And you can barely see, like 30 feet tops, cuts off sight, sound, everything.
And it's not just fog.
Yeah.
It's lethal. The sources are very clear on that.
Oh, yeah. Creatures wandering into it, they're lost, found later, dead, with this horrible look of pain described in the text. Grim stuff.
Wow. And just getting near it is bad news.
Definitely. Just stepping into the edge triggers severe effects. Choking, suffocation, you get totally disoriented. Nausea, painful cramps.
Nightmarish visions, too.
Yeah, exactly. The module mechanics involve continuous saving throws. Against poison, against spells, fail, and you take damage or just become completely deranged, fleeing back towards the mansion.
So it's this terrifying, almost living barrier. But the module actually spells out why it's there. It's not just random danger.
It does, quite directly, actually. The text notes the mist is a narrative device, quote, to ensure that the party will enter the mansion.
Ah.
And also that it should not actually kill any characters. It's a funnel.
A narrative funnel.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It forces you inside, makes the castle the only safe place, ramps up the tension without being, a TPK right at the start.
Precisely. It removes that immediate choice of just walking away. It's a very fun house move, prioritizing the designer's intended bizarre path right from the word go.
Okay, so deadly mist outside.
Yeah.
And then the doors to the castle just swing open on their own.
Yep. Offering the only apparent refuge, your objective becomes crystal clear pretty much instantly.
Survive.
Yeah.
Figure out what on earth is going on in this place, find clues.
And ultimately find a way to get through that gray mist safely and get back to your own world.
Right. And to understand why this place is so messed up, you really have to dig into the family behind it all, the Ambers.
Or, originally the d'Ambervilles. That's key.
Okay, so where did they come from?
Their story starts on a parallel world, a place called Averwan. The sources describe it as, like medieval France.
But with a twist.
A big one. Magic is real there, but it's strictly illegal. Ruthlessly stamped out by this powerful group called the Inquisition.
Okay, so not a great place for aspiring wizards. And the d'Ambervilles.
Let's just say they weren't exactly keeping their heads down. They were secretly practicing forbidden black arts, even worshipping elder gods, all for power.
Naturally. So they became targets.
Big targets, which led to their escape. The sources say they fled Averwan through some kind of temporary interdimensional gateway.
And ended up where?
In Glantry, which is like the complete opposite of Averwan. Magic isn't just tolerated there, it's the basis of society. Powerful magic users rule as princes.
Ah, much more their speed then.
Definitely. They thrived, built up influence over generations. Their leaders automatically got princely titles. And somewhere along the line, d'Amberville got shortened to just Amber.
They became a major power in Glantry.
One of the most powerful families. But you know how these things go. Power breeds conflict.
Always.
The central tragedy involves Prince Stephen Amber. He was the 7th prince, apparently the most formidable magic user in the family.
And someone didn't like that.
His own brother, Henry, and Stephen's wife, Catherine, they plotted against him, wanted his power. Classic betrayal.
Did they succeed?
They did. Had him assassinated using magically transported masked killers. Pretty dramatic.
Ouch. But Stephen wasn't completely unprepared.
No, he suspected something. He'd used ancient Averron magic stuff people in Glantry didn't really know about. to set up these potent magical contingencies.
Like dead man switches.
Exactly, set to trigger upon his death, and specifically designed to screw over his relatives to stop them benefiting from his murder.
So payback from beyond the grave, did it work?
Oh, spectacularly. The curse hit with almost theatrical timing, right during Henry's coronation ceremony.
No way.
Yeah, just as Henry was declaring himself the new prince and marrying Catherine, Stephen's widow.
Wow, what happened?
Well, Catherine was quick. She used a magic jar spell, transfers your soul into something else, and managed to escape the immediate blast. But Henry
Uh-oh.
and everyone else attending the coronation, instantly dead, their bones fused solid, just like that. A horrifying statue garden, basically.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. But the curse didn't stop there.
Not even close. It saturated the whole chateau, warped everything. Servants, guards, twisted into grotesque monsters. Even the plants in the indoor garden mutated in bizarre ways.
So the whole place became cursed ground.
And then came the biggest effect. The mansion itself wasn't just cursed, it was physically ripped out of Glandrake.
Where did it go?
Into an uncharted pocket dimension. A place described as existing outside of time itself, completely isolated.
Outside of time. Whoa, that explains a lot. Does that affect the castle itself?
Massively. The dimensional shift made the castle unstable. Rooms started swapping locations randomly. Whole areas would expand to, impossible sizes, titanic proportions, the module says.
Okay, this is getting seriously weird. What about the other family members, the ones who weren't at the coronation?
You survived the initial blast, yeah. But their fate was arguably worse. They were trapped, irrevocably stuck inside this shifting, timeless prison.
Unable to leave.
Unable to leave, and stranger still. They stopped aging, didn't need food or water anymore, just existed.
Immortality, but as a curse? That kind of existence, it would destroy your sanity.
Completely. The sources say it gradually eroded their minds. And for many, their physical forms started changing too.
Grotesquely. How so?
Manifesting their base natures is how the module puts it. So Richard, the proud warrior, his head became a lion's head. Claude, who was maybe more loyal or steadfast, a collie dog's head.
Good grief. And Isabel the Diviner?
Her divination powers got twisted, crippled by the dimensional shift. It was like the curse tailored itself to them.
So the family now, they're described as what?
Ranging from slightly eccentric to completely insane, mostly chaotic in alignment. Still consumed by this immense Amber family pride, even in their, monstrous state.
And if you can't die, can't age, don't need to eat, what do you do all day?
You get bored. Profoundly, pervasively bored. The module explicitly says they alleviate this boredom through cruel entertainments and petty rivalries.
And that's where the adventurers come in? Us? Or, the players?
Exactly. They are utterly convinced escape is impossible for anyone. So when you show up, you're just a novelty, a curious diversion or catspaw.
Pawns in their twisted games.
Pawns to be used in their endless feuds, exploited for amusement.
So the curse, it's not just random magic, it's like a punishment, reflecting their own flaws back at them. Their hubris, the betrayal, the power lust, the forbidden magic.
Precisely. It's a narrative mechanism, a twisted mirror. And trapping them outside of time isolates them completely, forces them to confront these distorted reflections forever. No escape, no consequences from the outside world.
Just them and their madness. Okay, let's talk about some of these family members you might meet. Stephen Amber himself?
The architect of the curse. He's trapped, too, kind of between life and death by his own magic. A potential, but very hidden ally.
And his wife, Catherine, the one who used magic jar.
She's still around. Trapped in her throne, actually, via that spell. Her sanity is questionable. And she hates Stephen. Understandably, maybe.
Then there's Richard, lionhead guy.
Yep, the proud fighter. Lee's loyal Rakasta. Those are cat-like humanoids. Very sensitive about his appearance. Doesn't get on with John Louis.
And Claude, Colliehead.
He's the lawful exception, kind of. Tries to reform the family, leads loyal Lupin's dog-like humanoids. But Simon, the evil priest, wants him gone.
Madeline, the one buried alive.
Tragic figure. A warrior, but her brother Charles buried her thinking she was dead. She wasn't just catatonic. Rescuing her means unleashing an insane, vengeance-driven NPC.
Against Charles.
Yeah, Charles, her brother. An oversensitive wizard. He thinks he's mad because he hears his dead sister. He has extreme sensory issues, makes him vulnerable. And Madeline hates him.
Okay, who else? Gaston.
The moon mad artist. Totally insane. Can't even cast spells anymore. Sort of pitiable, maybe.
Isabel, the crippled diviner.
Right, her powers are messed up. Described as nervous, self-pitying. Madame Camilla, another diviner, is maybe more practical. Uses her magic to navigate the shifting halls. They're somewhat friendly.
Then some more fighters. John Louis and Mary Helen.
Yeah, they seem to get along, manage the magical constructs, but hold grudges elsewhere. John Louis dislikes Richard.
Andrew David, the wild huntsman.
Oh yeah, he's undergone a serious transformation. Black fur, goat's head, glowing red eyes, cloven feet. Trusts his sister Isadora, avoids the family drama mostly.
And Isadora.
Nature-loving spellcaster. Has nature-themed magic items. Trusts her brother, Andrew David. She's also suspicious of Simon.
Gotcha. Mary Teresa and Nicole.
Reclusive sisters. Only allies for each other. Mary Teresa has a magic staff and poison, apparently feared by the others. Nicole is soft-spoken, has a magic shield and rapier.
Which leaves Simon.
Simon Amber. The evil priest. Level 12 cleric, but he's ditched his god for some demonic entity. Operates secretly, pretends to be helpful to lure people in, hates Claude. Isadora suspects him. Pure bad news. Bad jester. Poor guy. Polymorphed into some tormenting form, cursed to die if he leaves the ballroom. Innate spellcasting abilities. Largely forgotten by the rest of the family. It's a whole soap opera of madness and betrayal.
Okay, so you step out of that foyer. Where do you go first? The module seems to guide you, right?
It does, yeah. Stepping into that foyer itself tells you something's off. It's grand, ornate, but wrong. Familiar yet surreal. That funhouse vibe hits you immediately.
And then maybe the grand salon?
Could be.
Yeah.
Luxurious room, but wait, all the furniture's pushed aside. There's an impromptu boxing ring set up in the middle.
Seriously? A boxing ring?
Yep. And this is where you might run into John Louis Amber. Described as flamboyant, competitive, often has his demos managing those magical bodyguards and some human guards with him.
And he wants to box you.
Pretty much. Offers big gold bets, up to 10,000 Trippy P according to the source, and answers if you win. Bare knuckle.
Any rules?
Oh yeah, there's a whole mini-game. No armor, no normal weapons. Magic is allowed, interestingly.
Yeah.
Quick rounds, like 30 seconds each. Win by KO, which source is a tough constitution. Save doing the most damage in a round, or just dropping them to 0 HP.
And the family watches.
The module notes other Ambers often observe secretly using Arcane Eye, that magical scrying sensor.
It just perfectly sums them up, doesn't it? Crushing boredom, perverse humor. It's not about the fight, it's about the show.
Exactly. The module literally says, a good spectacle is more important than defeating the adventurers. You're performers in their theater of cruelty.
Okay, what about the dining room? Is that just as weird?
Oh, you bet. Initially, it might look decayed, abandoned, but then spectral figures emerge right out of a solid wall.
Ghost.
Ghosts of the guests from that fatal coronation. 12 men, 12 women, various races. They magically restore the room to its former glory.
And they invite you to dinner.
They do. Name place cards magically appear for you at the grand table. Ghostly hobgoblin servants, totally translucent, serve this multi-course meal. Looks, smells, tastes completely normal.
Uh-oh. I sense a catch.
A big one. Almost every single item served is enchanted. And the sources are specific.
Yeah.
It's eating the entire course that triggers the effects. Bizarre effects, often permanent.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, the onion soup. Failure save, you get a permanent boost of 100 D4 hit points. Toss salad permanently adds 100 D2 points to one random ability score, but subtracts 1 D2 from another.
Oof, risky.
Wheat bread. Succeed, you're immune to starvation forever. Fail, you need twice as much food as normal forever.
Wow.
Mushrooms and wine sauce.
Yeah.
Succeed, permanent advantage against poison. Fail, take 40-10 poison damage.
Tasty.
And the brandy. This one's famous. Fail to save against that, and you become permanently insubstantial. You join the ghostly feast forever, can't leave, can't interact physically. Game over, essentially, for that character.
That is quintessential funhouse dungeon. A seemingly innocent situation dinner. But with these incredibly high stakes, potentially permanent consequences decided by a single saving throw. Forces decisions without full information. Reality is just broken here.
Completely. You can't trust anything, not even the food.
What of the Hall of Mirrors? That sounds ominous.
It's a long corridor lined with thousands of tiny 1-inch mirrors, dazzling, confusing reflections everywhere.
And the trap.
Soon as you enter, slam. Doors shut behind you, and all light sources, torches, lanterns, magical light instantly extinguished. Pitch black.
Okay. So you try to relight something.
Bad idea. Trying to relight anything triggers a blinding flash. You need to make a wisdom save or be blinded for a while.
While trapped in a hall of mirrors. Lovely.
And the module even suggests, maybe roll for wandering monsters while the party's blinded.
Yeah.
It shifts the focus entirely away from combat. It's sensory deprivation, puzzle solving. How do you navigate this? How do you get out when you can't see?
It really forces creative thinking. And these wings are just filled with other weirdness, right? deadly stuff.
Absolutely. The study has those Rakasta loyal to Richard. You might befriend them, get info, maybe even a silver key you need later.
But other rooms are just death traps.
Yeah. The servants' quarters is a classic example of that old-school save-or-die mentality. It's explicitly packed with hazards. Deep green slime, a black pudding on the ceiling, gray ooze on a chest. Fail a save against those things, your character could be instantly dissolved or equipment ruined.
Yikes. Then there are bedrooms guarded by family members.
Richard himself guards one. Another has an ogre that's been enchanted to think it's Janet Amber, the lady of the house.
Yeah.
Acts like a gracious host, then attacks.
That's disturbing.
Rooms haunted by wraiths that drain your life force. Locked chests with deadly poison spore traps. Even the kitchen is creepy, with those transparent ghost hobgoblins preparing the spectral feast, completely ignoring you. It's constant unsettling weirdness.
Okay, then you can stumble into something completely different. The indoor forest.
Yeah, it's a massive change of scenery. Housed in this colossal octagonal structure, almost 100 feet high, glass domes letting sunlight in.
Like a giant greenhouse.
Exactly. But it's an ecosystem profoundly warped by Stephen's curse. 80-foot mutated trees, bizarre flowers, weird grasses, a stream, a fountain pool, even a 20-foot hill inside.
A contained, corrupted wilderness within the castle walls.
It showcases how the curse affected the environment itself. Stark contrast to the dark Gothic halls.
Is it safe to wander around in there?
There's a clear path, about 10 feet wide. The module heavily implies you should stick to it. Go off path. Visibility drops to 10 feet as difficult terrain, and you risk getting properly lost. Need a survival check to find the path again.
And I'm guessing the Ambers haven't left the off-path areas alone.
Not a chance. It's deliberately booby-trapped.
Yeah.
Pit traps with stakes, nearly impassable thorn barriers that hurt you if you try to cut through them. And then there's the grab grass.
Ah, the grab grass. Animated grass that attacks.
Yeah, tall grass that animates and tries to restrain you. You need a dex save to avoid it. Strengths or acrobatics check to escape. Immune to a lot of damage types, but vulnerable to fire.
Yeah.
But the fire damage gets split between the grass and whoever it's currently restraining. So burning it hurts your friend too.
Cruel.
Yeah.
So these aren't just natural hazards. The Ambers put them there.
Deliberately. The sources emphasize this. They're controlling your movement, funneling you along their scenic route, adding psychological tension. It's that funhouse idea again. The environment itself is weaponized, part of their game.
What kind of encounters are waiting on the path then?
Well, there are the killer trees. 6 large, gnarled, sentient trees lining the path that attack with tentacle-like branches if you get too close, and dozens more off the path.
Sentient trees.
Then there's an area called shadow paranoia. Sudden movements in the undergrowth, rustling sounds, grotesque shadowy forms glimpse deeper in the forest.
Real monsters.
Nope. Mostly illusions created by the Ambers. The module even mentions pulleys and ropes used to make sounds. It's purely psychological warfare, designed to make you jumpy, waste resources, wonder what's real, all for their amusement.
That's messed up. What about the maiden and the unicorn? That sounds different.
It's incredibly poignant and also incredibly cruel. You find Chrysanthemum, she's actually a powerful gold dragon, trapped in human form and magically made feeble-minded. Her intelligence is reduced to almost nothing.
Oh, wow.
And she's with Bear One, a unicorn who's bound by a geas spell, forced to obey commands. It's a stark example of the Amber's casual cruelty and power, twisting these good, powerful creatures for, what, wagers? Amusement.
Then awful. Then there's a bridge.
The Billy Goat's Bridge. It's like a fairy tale come to life, but deadly. It reenacts the 3 Billy Goats Gruff story, with an illusory goat on the bridge and an enchanted troll waiting underneath.
Whimsical but dangerous. Pure Amber humor.
Exactly. Then you've got King Midas's acorns, golden squirrels that turn acorns to gold but can only eat gold. They die if removed. Attacking them brings down the wild hunt on you.
Don't mess with the golden squirrels, Scott.
Flowers of evil, too. Amber, lotus, flowers with pollen that knocks you out, maybe right into grab grass. Vampire rose bushes that grapple and drain blood.
Lovely garden. How does the path end?
It culminates at the blood-stained arch, a big stone dolmen arch, constantly dripping blood, described as an old amber artifact used for bloody crimes.
Sounds charming. Any effect?
Weirdly, yes. Passing underneath can give you temporary luck, like advantage, on attacks or an AC bonus. But only if you fail a charisma save. It's a twisted blessing, fitting for this place.
The whole forest sounds like a microcosm of the castle. Corrupted nature, weaponized environment, everything staged as a game or spectacle by the board. Insane Amblers.
Absolutely. The bridge, the maiden unicorn wager, the shadow paranoia.
Yeah.
It hammers home that you're just unwilling performers on their stage.
Okay, moving on from the forest, what about the chapel? Sounds like it should be a safer spot.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? It's large, ostentatiously decorated. 12 big marble statues inside, each representing an Amber family member.
Let me guess. The statues aren't just statues.
Bingo. There's a 1 in 6 chance, the module says, that any statue animates when you get within 10 feet.
And they attack.
Not physically. They wield random magical abilities. Could be incredibly good, like a permanent boost to an ability score, or incredibly bad.
How bad?
Malevolent curses, things like diminution shrinking you down, diseases, or even petrification turn you to stone, just like that.
Ah, there's that save or die mechanic again. Classic old school D&D, fail one save, and your character might be permanently out of action.
It's definitely prevalent here. And the chapel holds another significant encounter. You might hear sounds, muffled howling, scratching, coming from under the floor.
What is it?
If you investigate, you find Madeline Amber, the warrior sister, buried alive. Her brother Charles thought she was dead. She was actually in cataleptic trance and interred her here.
Oh my God, so you can rescue her.
You can. But the experience has completely shattered her mind. She's insane now, consumed by one thing: vengeance against Charles. Releasing her means unleashing that onto the castle.
So in this area, we could run into Madeline, the broken Avenger, Charles, the tormented wizard who thinks he's mad, and Simon.
Simon, the evil cleric, operates nearby too. He has a hidden sanctuary. He might pretend to help you, but he's secretly serving some demonic entity and plotting against everyone, especially Claude.
The chapel sounds dangerous, even without the statues and buried siblings.
Definitely. There are monastic cells with zombie monks that attack if disturbed, a consultation room guarded by skeletons, and a powerful bone golem. That's where another crucial silver key is hidden.
Bone golem, nasty.
In a reliquary storage area with dangerous holes in the floor, hiding things like swarms of killer bees or cockatrice. One peck or gaze from that thing, and boom, petrification again.
Okay, so lots of danger. Does this lead somewhere important, like downstairs?
It can, yeah. Both the chapel and a room in the east wing have steep staircases leading down into the dungeon.
The dungeon, below the cursed mansion, sounds promising.
It's described as a multi-layered labyrinth, and it's critical if you want to find a way to actually break Stephen's curse.
So more monsters, more traps.
Plenty of both, but also some really unique challenges testing your ingenuity. One of the most famous is the magical letter squares.
Right, the grid on the floor you mentioned. You step on letters.
Exactly. In the right sequence, you spell out the names of spirits. Doing so triggers profound effects, often permanent.
Good or bad?
Could be either.
Oh.
You might gain a permanent point of wisdom or charisma, or you might contract lycanthropy, become a werewolf,
Seriously?
or gain lunacy, a condition in the module where your behavior becomes erratic based on the moon phases, blindness, other curses. And the module stresses these usually need powerful magic like remove curse to fix.
It's not a puzzle you solve with logic then, it's just magical Russian roulette.
Pretty much. Like the Alchemist's Lab also found in the dungeon, these are less conventional challenges and more like trials or tests of merit in that funhouse tradition. Arbitrary, maybe cruel, but offering big rewards or big penalties. It's about changing the character, sometimes permanently, through bizarre magical means.
What else is lurking down there? You mentioned a brain collector.
Oof, yeah. A Nethalgu, according to the source. Horrifying extra-dimensional thing. It eats brains, collects up to 12, and uses them to power its spells. Found in an alchemist's lab down there.
Pure pulp horror. Its presence suggests the dimensional fabric is thin here.
That's a good way to put it. The curse, the pocket dimension. It seems to be creating rifts, letting things like that leak through.
What about the Maganvats?
That's where the Ambers actually create their magical constructs. The Magan demos, Hypnos, Cauldron, Galzan types, they look human-like, animated by magic, totally loyal to their creators, shows the Amber's magical skill using artificial life.
And a treasure pile that's actually a monster.
The lair of the Great Worm. Looks like a huge mound of copper and silver coins, but nope. It's a giant slime worm waiting to ambush greedy adventurers.
Classic. So, is there an endpoint to the dungeon?
The most critical location is the Gate of the Silver Keys, a massive portal described as the gateway back to Averon, the Amber's homeworld.
Guarded, I assume.
By a giant amber golem. Very tough construct made of solid amber. And to open the gate, you need those silver keys you've hopefully been finding. At least 3 of them.
Keys found where?
In places like the Rakasta lair in the study, the chapel consultation room guarded by the bone golem, and apparently one near a fountain of youth in the indoor forest, though the fountain isn't detailed much elsewhere.
Okay, so you gather the keys, defeat the golem, open the gate, and step into Averon. Another world shift.
Exactly. Suddenly you're in this place that feels like medieval France. But remember the key rule there? Magic is real, but totally illegal, enforced by that powerful Inquisition.
And this setting?
Yeah.
It's based on real-world fiction.
Directly inspired by the weird fiction stories of Clark Ashton Smith. He wrote for the classic pulp magazine Weird Tales.
That's actually a pretty big deal in RPG history, isn't it?
It really is. The sources point out X2 is one of the earliest RPG products to officially license and adapt literary property. They got permission from Smith's estate.
And that influenced later game design.
Definitely. Tom Moldvay, the designer, bringing in those pulp fantasy weird fiction vibes, really expanded what D&D felt comfortable exploring thematically. It showed you could integrate existing literature, open doors for cross-genre stuff, and introduce tons of players to authors like Smith, a cultural gateway in a way.
So what's your goal in Averon? Sightseeing?
No, you have a very specific mission. The sources state you must collect 4 particular magical items. They're absolutely essential to break Stephen Amber's curse and finally escape Castle Amber for good.
Non-negotiable.
The module is blunt. Cannot proceed and will be trapped in Averon without them. And it tells the DM to give the party every conceivable chance to get them. This is the main quest now.
Sounds like a classic MacGuffin hunt.
Totally. The items have power, sure, but their main job is driving the plot, making you explore Avalon, interact with its quirky, dangerous inhabitants. The journey to get them is the adventure, which fits that funhouse style of varied encounters.
Okay, what are the 4 items?
According to the sources, you need the enchanted sword of Solaire needed to break a specific mirror. The viper-circled mirror itself needs shattering by the sword to summon Stephen's tomb. The ring of Ibon, you touch this to the mirror frame to start the summoning. And the potion of time travel used to anoint the sword makes it glow.
And you get these from people in Averon.
Yep, specific NPCs mentioned in the module. Sephora, a magic user in a ruined castle, has the sword, maybe trades it if you help her with a werewolf. Gaspard Dunord owns the mirror, but needs help against a huge necromantic colossus first.
Oh.
Luc Le Chaudronnier, a white magician, has the Ring of Ibon, but it might get stolen by the monstrous beast of Averon. And the potion of time travel. You might get it from an evil bishop named Desiderak, or possibly someone named Moriamis. Depends how things play out.
So you quest around Averon, gather these 4 artifacts, then what?
You perform a ritual described in the sources. Touch the ring to the mirror, anoint the sword with the potion, the items then shatter dramatically.
Yeah.
And instantly that smoky gray mist reappears all around you. Poof, you're transported right back to your original world.
Back to the campsite. Freedom.
Not quite. You're back, but standing right in front of you now is a tomb. A massive one, 50 feet tall, made of amber-colored marble. Stephen Amber's name and crest are on it. This is Stephen's tomb, the final dungeon.
Whoa, so escaping Averon just leads to another dungeon crawl.
Pretty much,
Yep.
the climax.
Yeah.
And it's guarded by a gauntlet of tough monsters. The source lists them in order.
Let's hear it.
First, a sleeping blue dragon, then a flame salamander, a wyvern, a stone giant, a manticore, a mud golem, a great white shark.
A great white shark in a tomb.
Hey, it's Castle Amber logic. Funhouse dungeon, remember? And the final guardian is a 5-headed hydra. It's meant to be a series of tough, escalating fights, draining your resources before the end.
Okay, you battle through all that. What's in the final crypt?
Stephen's crypt. Inside, there's his ornate mahogany casket on a dais, and the walls are covered by this huge, grand tapestry depicting Stephen's own assassination.
Morbid. How do you actually break the curse then? Is Stephen in the casket?
The final clue, the key instruction, is actually engraved on the inside lid of the casket itself.
What does it say?
Burn the tapestry to break my curse.
That's it. Burn the picture of his death.
That's it. So you burn the tapestry, the module describes smoke and ashes filling the crypt,
Yeah.
and then Stephen Amber himself suddenly appears, stepping out of the remnants. Alive. Or at least corporeal again.
Wow. And the curse breaks.
Instantly.
Mm-hmm.
The tomb vanishes. You find yourself standing outside where Castle Amber used to be. The gray mist is gone. Dissipated.
In the castle, what happens to it?
No longer held outside time by the curse, it experiences all those centuries catching up at once. It rapidly ages, crumbles into dust, and ruins within minutes. Just gone.
And the people inside, the servants, the surviving Ambers.
They suffer the same fate. Swiftly age, die, their bodies transforming into mummified skeletons as time reasserts itself, a sudden, grim end to their unnaturally long lives.
So who's left standing?
Just you, the adventurers, whatever treasure you managed to haul out, and Stephen Amber himself, finally free. It's a really memorable, if slightly horrifying conclusion.
Definitely memorable. So looking back, why does X2 Castle Amber stick with people? Why is it such a classic?
Well, it just perfectly embodies that funhouse dungeon idea, doesn't it? It prioritizes bizarre, unpredictable encounters. It forces players to use ingenuity, to adapt, to think outside the box, rather than just hack and slash.
Yeah, the mechanics are so unique. The magical food with permanent effects, the Hall of Mirrors messing with your senses, the arbitrary letter squares.
Exactly. They create real stakes, high-stakes decisions, often made with incomplete information. They challenge the players creatively, not just the character's stats. It's different from a lot of adventures, then and now.
And its historical impact, bringing in Clark Ashton Smith's work.
That's huge. Pioneering the integration of licensed literary worlds into RPGs, bringing that specific flavor of weird fiction into D&D, which enriched the game and, like we said, acted as a gateway for players to discover new authors and genres.
It really is a testament to its unique mix, that blend of gothic horror, total surrealism, capricious magic, and genuinely challenging weird gameplay. It's unforgettable.
It really is. It leaves you thinking, too, about
Yeah.
curses, about consequences. This whole curse was designed to punish the Amber's specific flaws, their hubris, betrayal, dark ambitions. It externalized their inner ugliness, trapped them outside time with it.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah. What aspects of your own nature, your own hidden flaws, or maybe even just strong desires, might a really cruel, powerful, tailored curse choose to latch onto? What grotesque form might your inner self take if trapped in a place like Castle Amber? Food for thought.